received the bike, it was an accident damage vehicle, and it was inevitable that there would be some damage to the fairing panels as well as the ancillaries. The right hand panel had obviously hit something fairly hard, and a large hole had been cut into the bottom of the panel. At the top side of that panel there was damage to the mounting bracket, which had been broken away, taking the indicator with it, part of the center panel, and breaking a piece off the screen. I was fortunate that I still had the piece, it had been left with the bike, the broken piece of mounting bracket with the mirror and part of the panel still in place. Apart from a few cracks, the left-hand panel was actually undamaged, but the mounting bracket it was attached to was bent so that the panel had pulled away from the center section. Here you can clearly see the broken section of the center panel and also the large part of the screen that has been broken away. With the right-hand panel off, you can see the large hole that can't really be hidden and will need to be properly repaired. Strangely though, the indicator is completely undamaged, apart from a few grazes. So to repair this panel, I'll need to remove all this plastic and mounting brackets from inside the panel. The plastics are held by 4 of these crosshead screws, and the mounting bracket is held by 3 Torx screws. With the center section removed, it's clear that there's not just damage to one side of the panel, it's also clear that some of the tags, mounting lugs, have broken off as well. Here 1 on this side and 2 on this side, where the left-hand panel has been pulled away from the center section, taking the mounts with it. This unfortunately only leaves 1 mounting position on the left-hand side. Putting the 2 mounting brackets side by side, it's easy to see the bend on the left-hand mounting bracket, here shown on the right-hand side. Some gentle persuasion with a hammer seems to get it straightened out. But when viewed from the end, there's still a little bit of a twist and a bend in that bracket. It may need further straightening. Okay, the panels are back. Been away for about 5 weeks now. Damage to that corner has been repaired. The most obvious damage to this before was the crack running along that seam, which is now repaired. He has tried to smooth it down to give it a better finish and to accentuate that angle. In fact, he's tried to shape it to merge these 2 angles together as it should be. I think he's made a pretty fair job of that. I don't know if it's possible to see where he's welded it on the inside there, but all in all, pretty tidy job, not bad. The center section, which had this ear broken off, that's all welded back on, smoothed out. Again, I think he's made a pretty fair job of that. There's a slight difference in level there, but not enough to worry about. That gets covered by the screen anyway. No, I think he's done a good job there again. Again, this bracket on this side was broken off, but I don't think that matters so much. We have the fittings or connections in place for the 2 ends, so whether it's supported in the middle, I don't think it's going to cause any great problems. And finally, this was the worst damage of the panels. Again, it had a little bit of cracking along here where it had been crushed, and doesn't look like he's had to weld right into that. He has smoothed it out. This was the biggest part of the damage here, where it has a huge hole that had to be filled. He's done a lot of work to shape that angular line there and to bring it back into shape. You'll see from this one you have this kind of looped corner, which he's done a lot of work into filling and smoothing that to get that loop correct. He's also repaired a broken part here, but he wasn't sure where the line of this was supposed to go. It differs to the other side, because this is a much larger cutaway, because of this covers for where the radiator is situated on the frame, but there's the outlet pipe on this side where it isn't on this side, so I don't think this cutaway needs to be as big. After an extended wait, quoted as 3 weeks, which will eventually ended up as 6 weeks, at last I've got the panels back. Now that is not a bad match in colour. If I can just catch the reflection of the sun, you can see them against each other. There's a very slight difference in colour to my eye. The panel red having a slightly blue tinge to it, but I think it's close enough not to matter. And that huge hole being cut into that panel, that is now repaired and is looking pretty good. In fact, to be honest, it looks like new. And of course the headlight cone with the brakes and the top arm all repaired now. You wouldn't even know it had been done. And of course a good colour match on the white. In terms of colour match, the Honda code on the frame only gave the colour code for the white, not for the red. So it was down to the painter to find a match for that red panel, which he successfully did. The decals had to be sourced from Germany via a motorcycle agent, but I think they've got them perfectly in place. I'll have to check that and make sure that's okay, because the way they're positioned is to make them look level when the fairing is mounted to the bike. I think it's pretty good. Having repaired the indicator, it's now time to fit them back onto the fairing. Very simple job, only retained by one nut and a plate to the inside. I can't find the nut. However, on the positive side, I did have a spare nut amongst my stash that included a nut of the right size. Now I've got to make sure I put this on the right way. That little flange there has got to face in toward the fairing because it's got to slot into the holes there. Oh, of course, trying to hold a phone or a camera at the same time as doing this, not easy. We can do it. Well, I believe that's the right way round. Now I've got to try and get the knot on it. Right, that's firmly mounted on. Not tightened on the inside, but nothing to stop me rebuilding it fully now. Right, this is the left hand side panel. I need to get the appropriate pocket. And I've got to be completely honest, I don't know which pocket belongs on which side. I think this pocket belongs on this side. Yes. Oh, that's perfect. Excellent. Now I have to be careful here because I seem to remember this was tricky to get on. And a bloody nightmare to get back off again, I suspect. Right, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but down in the centre there you go, it's into place. Down in the centre there's a little lock that holds it. It needs to go onto that tab there, and these two screws need to line up. Which has happened. That seems to be perfect. Two screws to hold that in. I need to know which screws. And to be honest, a lot of these screws look the same. I am going to gamble that it's two of these self-tappers. Now I should be able to tell fairly quickly because I shouldn't have to cut my own thread. It should just feed straight into an existing thread there, which I think it is. Yes, that's going in. I've got to be careful where I route that wire as well. Now, as I remember, the panel that goes over the top of this, just having a quick think, bear with me, the panel that goes over the top of this, that has got to be threaded through the panel before I can attach the panel itself. Left. Okay, so that lines up with there, that lines up with there, that lines up with there, that lines up with there. Oh. Before I can do that, I have to try and get this into there. Okay, that worked better than I thought it would. Having now achieved it, so I'm going to show you what I did, how I did it. That seems to click nicely into place. All the screw holes line up. Good, right. Just to show, we have two hooks here facing in opposite directions. I laid the cable between and turned so each end of the cable went under. Yeah. So it's quite tricky to do when you're taking it off, but it's actually a lot easier to do when you're putting it on. Designed for assembly, I think, is the phrase. Okay. Now I've got to find 5 screws. This screw's a little bit rusty. I'm just going to put a little dab of 3-in-1 on it, just to lubricate it. Now it's plastic, it's a steel screw going into plastic. The only thing that will cause it to rust is just its exposure to dampness and the elements. But hopefully the 3-in-1 will prevent it from loading away too badly. Right, how many did I say? 2, 4, plus 1, 5. I need another 4 screws out of my box of magic tricks. Go. Right, that's the panel on that side done. Okay, reassembly of the centre section of the fairing. First thing I'm going to do is put the headlight in. Nice, fairly straightforward assembly, I'm expecting, but I have to sort out what belongs with what. I believe that these flanged screws, there are 4 of them, and I do have 4 mounting holes, and they look to me as if they belong there. Ooh, that one's a bit tight. Oh no, there you go. They look perfectly at home there. And I believe these captive nuts, let's check the thread size. Yep, they seem to be all right, and I believe, oh steady, they go onto here. That immediately feels a bit slack on there to be, oh no, it's not too bad. Not too bad, that'll hold on there. I can always press them together a bit. Maybe they're a bit tougher than I thought. And this type of captive nut is used in various parts around the fairing, so I'm just making sure that I am getting the right thread for each one. That's 2, there should be 2 more. Don't mess up here. There's one here. Oh, that one feels a bit tight. Oh, there we go, it's on. We've got one more. Yep, there it is. And on there. Wow. Maybe I've got these the wrong way around. Oh, that's tough going on, that one. Oh. Okay. I've got to be careful because I could end up scratching this thing. Also, I'm going to squeeze this on. I've got to be careful, I don't want to break the plastic. There we go. Just make sure it's centered. It should be okay. Top 2 are loose. Yeah, I think I could have probably done with putting those on the other way around. Right. Headlight should just drop straight into there. Yep, this looks good. Just loosely put in the first. Oh, that doesn't seem to be lining up. That one seems to be pretty well lined up, so we'll pop him in first. Okay, that seems to have gone straight in. Got another one. 2. Another 2, where are they? 3. And of course the 4th one's in there, so I'll put in one diagonally opposite, which hopefully will square it up.
here. Now this is a bit of aesthetics really, because what I've done is two of these are quite clean and two of them, the washers, are a bit rusty. I could just wipe them off, but I thought it'd be easier just to put the nicer looking ones toward the top. It's all a bit of a nothingness really, it doesn't really matter that much because these will be hidden behind panels anyway, they're not going to be visible. Right, that's that done. So we have the headlight shell. That's in. I could put on, it's just dirt, I could put on the screen next. This is the replacement screen I got. That goes in quite well, I hope. Yeah, there you go. Now, you can actually see the slight step there where the repair was done. The other side fits in quite snugly. This side not so much. Not bad. Not first class. I don't think there's any other mounts for that. There's nothing else that's going to hold that in position. I think that can just stay in there, to be honest. I think that's pretty cool. What do you reckon, ladies and gentlemen? Is that pretty cool, or is that pretty cool? Centre section is done. I could do with wrapping that in bubble wrap to protect it from any further damage. I like it. What I'd like to do now, just for the sheer heck of it, I'd like to see if I can marry up the centre section to that. That's it. That's it. That's how it'll marry up, roughly. It's not great, but it'll look better when it's on the bike. Okay, let's stop messing about before we cause any damage.